Okay, welcome everybody. I am going to kick off the meeting today. Our chairman is online, but he's a little bit under the weather, and we're not going to ask him to expend himself. So I'll go ahead and recognize the board members who are present and those just participating virtually today. Let's start with the date. It is November 19th. It is 9:30 a.m. We are beginning our November meeting of the Inmate Disciplinary Oversight Board. We have present in the room Mr. Dale Carr, Dr. Mary Karpos, Mr. Mike Sheeran, Mr. Lee Frank, Mr. Steve Grauberger, Ms. Heather Doyle, and myself. And then online we have Mr. Quantel Lindsay and our chairman, Jerry Bassbinder, as well. So thank you everybody for being here. I don't think we need to take a roll call. Everybody's been introduced. My quorum is present, so I appreciate that. And let's just jump right into the prayer. Mr. Lindsay, if you're open to it, would you mind leading us in a short prayer this morning?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this board. We thank you for another day on earth. Father God, speak to us, speak through us, forgive us of our sins, make us better than what we were.
Great, thank you very much. And we certainly hope for the health of a few of our board members who aren't feeling the best right now. So a quick recovery to them as well. Okay, let's just jump right into the agenda. Tab 2, or actually let's review the minutes from our last meeting, October 2025. Those have been previously distributed. The video is also available online. If there's nothing to discuss, I will entertain a motion to approve and enter those minutes into the record.
So moved. Second.
We have seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for that. Let's move on to the last 30 days. We'll talk quickly about some of the things that the board has been up to. We have distributed for review this month 1,370 cases. I appreciate everybody looking at those. Last month, we re-adjudicated 254 cases. There were 27,450 days removed from inmates by the board, in addition to what was removed by PDOC, and the board restored 4,470 days. So really appreciate everybody's hard work on that. We've sent in a number of requests for additional information on particular incidents. We got 29 responses back. So please keep track of those and let me know how many are still pending or outstanding for board members. We have recommended a number of cases be referred to the local district attorneys that were not originally on the referral list. So if you come across those that you feel like are important enough for the local district attorneys to consider outside charges, please let me know, and we'll make sure they're aware of those. And we have sent over 13 names to the Board of Parole as prolific offenders for their records anytime the possibility of those inmates come up for parole. So please continue to send me those names. Appreciate everybody's hard work doing that. Any questions on the last 30 days?
Just on the point that you just brought up about sending prolific offenders over to the board, and I definitely agree that that's a really good idea. I'm also wondering, is it possible for us to discuss how else to designate those offenders in a manner that might address their continued accrual of sentence credits?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we can discuss anything along those lines. Is that something you'd like to do today, or would you like to put that maybe on the agenda for another meeting?
Yeah, just to kind of put that on our radar, because in the statute it says that, we're also looking at the awarding of credits. And I think identifying these prolific offenders, and certainly Mike Sharon has led the charge there, being able to also look at whether or not there's something in policy that might address whether they should be accruing credits as other folks are accruing credits as well. Just a
Right. Oh, good idea. Yeah, I mean, I think all that stuff is helpful. So, okay, great. Moving on, outstanding matters. The big one is the annual report that's being worked on. I'm having our council take a look at some legislative recommendations that we can make to improve the sentence credit structure that Tennessee has. We're also working on graphing a number of statistics that we can include in that annual report. So hoping to have that for everybody's review by the end of the month. And then we can formalize that, hopefully have that out by the 31st of December. So still working on that. It's coming together well. I think it'll be a really good annual report this year. So any questions about that? Great. Okay, let's move to next agenda item which is the submission and approval into the record of the initially reviewed incidents. I believe that is tab 2. This month, 304, well, in September, 345 cases were marked as approved by the individual board members, bringing the total number of cases that have been marked as approved without any further comment up to 4,731 for the year. So appreciate everybody's work doing that. If there's no questions about that, we will entertain a motion to move those items into the record as permanently approved.
Salute.
Seconded. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for that.
If I could, I would like to ask something about one of the outstanding matters.
Yes.
Have we gotten anything yet about the training curriculum that we've asked for from the academy, that training curriculum? I know when we met over at TDOC headquarters a couple of months ago, we had expressed a desire to see that.
The slide decks you need.
Yeah,
It was like 14 slide decks they
yeah.
talked about.
So I just wanted to be sure that didn't
Yeah,
drop
I-
off the radar, that
Yeah,
we're
it's-
still expecting to see that hopefully.
Yeah, I do need to follow up on that, so I appreciate that. We've been more focused on trying to follow up on the memorandum of understanding and the new matrix and the new definitions of policies for the Class A. So that was something that the last time I spoke with TDOC leadership, I didn't bring up. So yes, I will put that on and we will see if we can get some answers on where that's at. Anything else? Okay, great. All right, well, let's just jump right into our incidents and cases for the month. And I hate to do this to you, Chairman, you're the first one in the hopper. So if you're feeling up to it, would you like to present your incidents from September?
Yes, sir. I had 200 incidents I reviewed, 107 of them were okay, 14 not okay. There were 9 listed as not guilty instead of just being dismissed. There were 45 dismissals. I still have 4 pending. There were 8 others that were either blank screens or where there was no offender or common area weapon found, and 3 deaths. So for the month, the D board took 64 months credit from the 14 offenders from Hardeman County, Morgan County, Northeast, Trousdale, Kearney Center, Whiteville, and West Tennessee. There, in that, I found that 52 credits needed to be, should be removed, and 17 months should be returned. So through the matrix, that's 99 months, 52 being removed, additional, and 17 being restored.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any questions for the chairman on his docket, his cases?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to approve, seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. We'll get those action forms presented and out to TDOC for processing later this week. Okay, next on the agenda, we have Mr. Frank.
Yes, I had 50 loss of credits out of 11 that I took this time from. I had 4 that was returned for a total of 13. I did not, I guess I would say that, improvements are being made each and every month, and, I guess that's it.
Okay. No other trends, issues you'd like to highlight from September?
You know, we talked about the LPP being blank. That has not been a policy that's been changed yet, and so I am still taking time from that, as that it's been erased is still a policy of TDOC, which.
And that has been mentioned to them, that was
Right.
brought up the last time we were able to speak with some of them. So we'll see if we can't get that figured out.
But besides that, trying to think, I had conversations with Mike Ward, I think I've told you guys about, over at TDOC, who is, which you can imagine, you can understand after the new one came in February, there's tweaks and that one is in the process. He told me it's in the process of the commissioner approving and being instituted, which I will wait and see. But I was told that the higher end will be more into the 15 to 18 months. And so, just something that to look forward to, I think. I can tell he's very diligent about wanting to get this right. And so, anyway, I just appreciated that. And, I guess that's it.
Didn't you also mention that you planned on meeting,
Yes, yeah.
on there?
And it's something that, and Dale probably could do. I don't know if Mary knows him, but you probably would know the sheriff over in Sevier County. I'm meeting, he's a county commissioner. He's also the chief jailer of Anderson County Jail. And he invited me to come, which we're going to try to do next week, to come and watch one of their D-board. And he wanted to get my views on what they're doing and how we're doing it, you know, when you're dealing with state inmates. And so I think that's an avenue for us to, you know, to be aware of and exactly how things are being done at that level.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
It's just a suggestion for, you know, just to see what, you know, there's 95 county jails. You know, at least the one in your area.
Back to the group.
All of these with jails, there's like 100 jails.
Right.
For some counties.
Oh, sure.
Maybe we can come back after that.
Absolutely. I look forward to it and just the insight of what we're doing, what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's great. And are there any examples from September that you'd like to send over to TDOC as egregious or problematic so that they can use them as training aids for their training?
Sorry. I'm trying to think. Put me on the spot.
Well, and you don't have to answer. I mean, you can think about it and just send them to me. I'll say that to everybody. If anybody has examples over the course of the month that they think could serve as really good training aids as TDOC continues to make changes that we're suggesting to them, highlighting some of the problems that we continue to see.
I would
Send them to me and I'm happy to pass
I
them.
would certainly say, and I know like Sharon told me that Mike Ward is out. This was a thought of mine, because how the matrix, I see the matrix is sometimes it seems like ASOs where hands are being, from the matrix now, only serious injury is being able to take up to the highest level. And I think maybe there's discussion to be had with them about hands to the face and some really serious things like that, because, you know, I'm following the matrix and how they see it, how the D boards see it. And it might be a thought.
Well, that's what I mean. In those circumstances, if you have specific cases that highlight that point,
Right.
we can save them.
Well, I think Mary has one and Dale has one. I'm sure I have some back there, has several. It's just something that maybe needs to be looked at. I mean, it is not now, but it maybe needs to be looked at.
Well, I agree. I agree.
You
So,
know,
yeah, if
instead
you
of
come
just
across
serious injury, you know, 2 punches to the face is, and I know most of the they're not going to the hospital, they're going back to work, but that might be something I think that could be discussed with them, like, hey, maybe this particular case is worth to be delved into.
Yeah, please
Because
send those. along.
it's tied my hands as well.
Yeah, for sure.
From the way I read the Matrix. So, and Dale and I have discussed this as well. I think these are really the rub. And so I think if they just understood what we're looking at, I think it would be beneficial.
And I think examples help them do that. So,
Sure.
So as you come across those and as you all do your cases, you know, if you want to highlight or mark any of those and say, look, they really need to take a look at this one. This is what we're talking about. Please send those to me and I'll make sure that they get past them.
Right. I want to stay in the Matrix, but sometimes you go, really? And anyway, that's where I'm at on that. That would probably be the one thing in my mind that I think they don't have a better handle they could have on. That's it.
Okay, well, if there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion to move, Mr. Frank's docket into the permanent record. Move. Seconded. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to our next presenter, Mr. Parr.
Thank you. Well, I've got several here, and as you can see, D-Board took 292, and I took 411 more. And we'll discuss some of these here. I know y'all got some questions about some. I'd like to go back down on, and after discussion with Darren over here, I'd like to put down on my ones I give credits back to, and those 2 PGAs, that'd be the second and third one up in the bottom. I just like to mark those off, okay? Those
Okay.
two,
Which ones are those?
second and third one up in the bottom on the returns. Take those off.
The,
So there'd be no.
the two PGAs closest to the bottom.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we taking them off or are we moving them to next month?
No, we're just
Striking.
striking.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, now, with me and Lee talked, and some more things and everything here, but one case that I had, if anybody wants to follow along with it, it's from Morgan County, and it's the deal about the, it says stuff thrown into the rake yard. This is about the drugs and everything. And of course, I don't know if they went out and got them. I thought maybe they went across the fence and got them. So that's sort of like not a escape. But anyway, I'll read what it says here. It says when
I'm
they,
sorry, Dale, just which incident? What's the incident?
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't give you the incident number. The incident number is, I'm gonna give this to you, dog, 168-9462.
Got it.
Okay?
Is it two? I see two incidents there, or three. Three. Okay.
3 people or
3 people.
it's 3 people?
It's 3 people.
3 people. One incident.
Got it.
Mhm. Okay, well, they went back, it says, they investigated, including following that, the Captain Paul Lowe was conducting a fence check and discovered 2 packages inside the perimeter near, zone 15. And then the, Internal Affairs was contacted and didn't respond to the situation. And, the video showed that the subject came from the wood line and threw packages over the zone 15 fence to the rec yard. And 4 of the packages made it in and 2 of them were still in the, outer perimeter. And so, then it says these are different, Kevin Bundy, and it gives his number and everything, and Brandon Whitehurst can be seen retrieving and concealing packages. And I.A. Foster was able to follow the movement on video and did retrieve 2 packages from Unit 2, Cell 27. Those packages contained 226 full grams of methamphetamine, 2 iPhones, 2 charging blocks, 1 cable, 2 sets, earbuds, 4 Delta 8 ACH vape pens, and due to the actions of offenders, Bundy, Davis, and Whitehurst were charged with conspiracy to violate state law, which, I mean, and I looked at it, conspiracy to violate state law. They went, retrieved illegal contraband, took it in. We don't know how much has already been distributed when that's been found. So I give them a max on that, and I think we're going to talk about some of that, but I give them a max on that, and that's the reason that, on that particular one, on that instance.
Is that something you'd like to send over to TDOC?
Yes, I'm gonna give you all three of these, okay? On that, because I mean, violate state law when they brought all these drugs in and done everything and phones and all like that. So I'd like to, bring that one to your attention. And then the other one I'd like to bring to your attention, two more, and I'll be quick. From, Northeast, incident 1687669. Okay, now it says assault on staff without a weapon, and that's where me and Frank have been talking about this. Now, after investigation of the institutional investigation by Corporal Catherine Dixon, on approximately 7:30 a.m. the following incident occurred. On 8/27/25, approximately 7:19 in a housing unit in front of 39 cell, offender Doris Ayers used his hand to push Andrew Sexton back away from Unit 9 cell, while offender Terrence Patterson kept pushing on Sergeant Leon to keep him from unlocking the cell door where the incident was occurring, where they were stabbing the guy. Well, yeah, they didn't physically hurt the officer, but they did not. They laid their hands on the officer, and they kept him from doing his duty. They kept pushing, kept on, therefore allowing that somebody else get stabbed. And that's the reason I took it to he said he'd been charged with assault on staff without a weapon. So that's the reason I went to the fullbacks on that, because as you say, and maybe this is my move, but if you put your hand on an officer, that's not good. So if they get the idea that we're going to take time away from them, if they put their hands on the officer, they may soon to learn that, and they will step back and not try to physically attack in any way, shape, form, or fashion on an officer. So that's just my opinion.
Are we taking these cases one at a time or as a group?
Well, I was gonna let him present them and
Yeah.
then talk about how we wanted to either approve them or not approve them.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
But my question was, did you want to send that one to TDOC as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Now the next one that I saw, did you check on that yesterday, Shelby County?
No,
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay,
he
this one,
told us he was, but you're right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get his Thomas number, sorry.
that's okay. This incident is from, Whiteville, incident number 1689578. Now, what happened on this one? Correctional Officer Greg Cooley was conducting a security check in restrictive housing when he heard what appeared to be a fighting noise coming from cell 116. When Officer Cooley arrived at the cell 116, he observed inmate Thompson Percy, 341555, lying down with blood coming from his face and head. Officer Cooley observed inmate Vaughn Walter strike inmate Thompson with his head with a cane and feet, and he immediately called and initiated an inmate-on-inmate assault code. As emergency medical code come in, the directives to stop the assault, inmate Vaughn complied and moved to the back of the cell. At approximately 1912 hours, senior correctional officials, Queen Couch, and senior correction officers, whoever knew, responded to the code and removed inmate Vaughn from the cell in approximately 1914 hours. And core civic medical staff responded to the code and started performing CPR on him right there. Okay. Life-saving measures. Inmate Thompson was transferred to medical for further evaluation. And then it was notified that he should be airlifted to the Regional 1 hospital and so on and so forth. So therefore, we had a very egregious attack on a inmate. And says inmate was escorted back to medical. This is what it was doing the fighting and evaluating, cleared to go back to restricted housing with no injuries. Inmate Vaughn was interviewed by OIC and admitted to assaulting inmate Thompson with a cane in his feet. An inmate was written for a disciplinary report for assault on inmate with weapon, Correctional Officer Cooley and Acting Thomas, so on and so forth. And what we looked on this, I've been checking back and forth. And as far as we know, this inmate being hurt like he was, and I took all the time off of him that I possibly could, because he did hurt and physically harm, and they had to give him CPR on the floor, and they airlifted him out. While we were over at TDOC yesterday, I never could see him bringing him back in or doing anything, so I didn't know where he's at. I don't know if he's dead. still in the hospital. But I believe, talking yesterday, we'll check and see that maybe he has been assigned to Shelby County Jail. And Cheryl will check on that for us, you see. So if he's not physically in that jail, we'd like to know if he's still in the hospital on a ventilator or is he deceased or whatever's happened to him, okay? So we don't know on that, okay? But we do know now he has been assigned to Shelby County. Am I correct on that, Mike? Correct. Okay. All right, that's the three that I had the major point in, and that's my cases for this time. So,
Can I ask for a clarification since you said that you had identified that he's at Shelby County? Is that on the arrival departure screen?
He said it.
I said,
Is it on the arrival departure screen? Because I watched on the arrival departure, it's to free.
They were, she was on a different.
She was on a different thing.
This.
and not he told me.
And she was saying Shelbyville, but she meant Shelby County. So
Well, he might be out counted there because he's
we think
hospitalized.
he's at the
Yeah.
prison ward, regional one, and that's just what looked like that's, but we were gonna reach out to some
Yeah.
folks and double check.
Yeah,
But I
because
just think that I need to tell
what I
them.
see is the arrival departure screen, he left the prison, or they're lifted out on September 16th or the 19th. What's the date of the incident, whatever.
I think 16.
So we're
That's
talking
her
2 months ago.
Yeah.
And there's not been any, entries on the arrival departure screen to indicate, is he alive? Where is he? Last known departure was to a Free World Hospital.
Well, and then to clarify that, when we were over at T-Doc yesterday, a lady, that Kristen, she come in to show us how she takes credits and everything off. And so while we were sitting there, I just asked her, I said, look this up for me. Well, she's got a total screen that we can't even see.
Sure. Well, we have limited screens.
Yeah, we
We
have
don't
limited.
have allowed viewing rights to limited screens.
Right, so we couldn't see that, and she called it up, and that's the reason we know now that he has been assigned to Shelby County Jail. But we still don't know, she didn't know if he's in the hospital or whatever, hopefully if he's been assigned to that and he's not without showing dead, he's probably laying on the ventilator somewhere, but it's been 2 months in the hospital, so we'd sort of like to know absolutely where he's at, what has happened, and therefore on that, so that's why we couldn't tell that they didn't take it off of, Whiteville or put somewhere else, but she could, Crystal could.
Okay.
And I'll give you all these here, Michael.
Great.
And, that's my docket. I went to wheel of the board.
Okay, so a couple of things, no notes on the restoration docket that you want to highlight or go through.
No, just those two that you take out. The rest of them are just normal.
And before we get into voting on anything, any trends or examples or issues that you want to, in general, highlight for the group that you saw in September?
Well, especially the highlights in this last one, if somebody goes out and does like that, we can't track where they're coming in like that. And then me and Lee's gonna get together on this and we'll talk about it too, but, and I hate to bring this analogy up, but if you tell a child you're gonna whoop them and you don't, we'll do it again. I mean, if they start laying hands on officers all the time and they don't get punished for it, they're gonna keep doing it. So let's make a mindset that, they're non-grata. You can't touch an officer. Period. That's from my old background. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It's a fair point. Okay, let's take the two dockets separately. If everybody's amenable to it, we can entertain a motion to approve the restoration docket first with the two cases struck that Dale mentioned. Anybody want to make a motion to approve that restoration docket for entry?
Approve. I mean, yes, I'm new.
Seconded. Okay. Any discussion on the restoration docket except for those that are struck? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Okay. Okay, so now we have the removal docket. There are three of the cases that Dale highlighted. Any other questions or issues with that docket that people would like to discuss? Jerry, Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. On reviewing Mr. Carr's docket, actually some of the priors are off where he was counting, like if they got 2 or 3 write-ups at the same time, he was adding all those together in the write-up. So it doesn't make all the cases off, but it does conflict with some of the other cases, such as down in Attorney Center, on some of the PGAs. There's actually only one prior, which would be in the 3 to 4 range, and those need to be reevaluated. And then at Attorney Center, the indecent exposure, that 12 months was taken, that there's no Senate screen in Thomas. There was a human error that's never been filled out. That really needs to be requested information from TDOC, because the hearing never was put in there.
Okay. Do you have the incidents that, you have questions about the number of priors? Which are those incidents?
Oh, yes, sir. It is 168, 87, 12, PGA,
At what facility?
65, 52, 75, and the next 3 down, the numbers are all should be ones.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, you had me, I found the 1688712 attorney. I found those. What were the other ones you mentioned?
The 3 below that, it's Moore, White, Word, and Wimberley. All 3 of those should have just 1 prior.
We can't see names.
We don't see names.
We can't see the names.
What incidents are you talking?
Okay, it would be 65, 52, 75, 65, 77, 25,
Thomas numbers?
66, 54, 65, and 67, 28, 20.
Michael, you have the sheet that would have all those on there, which make this a lot easier. Thank you, Jared.
So the PGAs,
Yeah, I got those.
the list of PGAs associated with incident
So-
1688712.
Okay,
He's talking about the same one.
Yes.
Yes,
okay, so it's just this instance. So we're just talking about instance.
and did you have others?
And,
Okay, great. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So,
Hey, can you pull that up?
I mean, I can pull it up, Lee, but everybody needs to discuss
I
it.
didn't know if you could see it. Okay.
So,
Well, let me make a motion that I just talked with Mr. Carr. There are 16 incidents that we had talked about coming back and talking about these and working on this. And I would move to table those.
well, that's what we're trying to identify.
We need to know those numbers.
Yeah, which
Give
16 are
the rest of them.
I can count the numbers, but this should be a list of them. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you could pull the whole thing up on the screen where everybody could see it.
No, I don't have access to the big screen right here.
Oh, the numbers on the
Start
side.
with the facility.
Yeah,
Let's see.
so start on the top. Yeah.
There we go. Bledsoe, 675305, the first one.
Okay, wait, that's the
That's the
Thomas
Thomas
ID
number.
number?
Yeah, you're one incident.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the first one.
Gotcha.
All right.
Second one is 1689424.
Also at Woodson.
Right. You're gonna go to number 6.
Wait, I'm
which is
sorry, you switched the incident number. What was that incident number?
The second one.
The second one,
The
okay.
first and the second.
All right, what prison?
In Bledsoe.
Still in Brett. No, you said your next one.
Okay, the next one, we're going to Hardeman,
Okay.
Okay,
which is 1689934.
ASO.
okay.
We're going to Morgan, number 10, which is 1688196.
Wait, I'm sorry, where?
Morgan County.
Morgan,
168
196.
196 and ASO.
You've got the 3 in Morgan as well,
CDS.
1689462. Those 3 in a row.
Okay.
You go down to Northeast, you have those three in a row. The
What?
ASO is 1687669.
That's two, and then there's the third is the 1690437, is that?
Yes, and then the third one,
Okay. Got it, Mary.
Yeah, got it.
You go to Trousdale. It is 1690606. That's the indecent, right? You go to Turney, which is 1688712.
Right.
Then you,
PGA,
it's a PGA.
sure.
It's on the next page.
No, it's just the one. And then you've got four in a row at the bottom of that, which is 1688712, starting with 655275, 657725. These are Thomas.
Why are we going back?
Well, I'm just saying it's the last four in Turney PGAs.
All of those PGAs.
Just
That is.
four. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
And then there is Whiteville, which is the case he talked about, 1689578,
AOW.
the AOW.
That's it.
Okay, so let me ask a question. What do you, because when I heard Chairman Bassfider, he was saying that he felt that there was some miscount in the priors.
So we can-
Yes?
That's all.
Are you saying that for all 16 of these cases? No. So I'd like to take these two things separately. If you're asking to table cases that have nothing to do with whether or not
Right.
the priors are being counted a specific way, well, that's one issue. What's the rationale for tabling the others?
That they fall outside of the matrix. And that we were going to have a talk about this again.
But that should be in a public setting. If we're going to talk about whether or not these
No,
do or don't
we
fall
can-
outside of the matrix.
We can talk about in general what this, take for example, the CVS, which is not one of the cases that can be taken to 24 months.
Okay, so,
Regardless of the case, the case write-up, if we're following the matrix, it's not one of the cases. So therefore, we've made our own matrix.
okay,
But there's two
okay
ideas going on. There's two ideas going on. The one idea is, are we going to follow in general, each of us, the matrix? And then the other discussion is does this specific case follow that rule? So Mary's right. When we're talking about the application of the matrix to individual cases, we can do that in a public forum. But what Mr. Frank is saying is that we can also have a general discussion about how in general are we applying these things. So,
Right.
Mr. Torres agreed to do that, right?
And he's agreed to table is what I was informed.
okay, well, let's,
These cases can be brought back next month or
yes, Mr. Parker.
If they vote to table those, that's fine. We can look at the ones where I maybe miscounted the priors.
Okay.
And then we can talk about how I want us to all come in, I'll make that later, but I want us to all come back together and sit down and go over how that we look at the matrix and all like that. Then to decide on the ones where I have maybe or not kept in the matrix or been outside the matrix or whatever like that. Then we'll have, after we have our discussion, then we'll come back in an open meeting and finish up.
I think that's a great idea. So, let's take the two buckets that we have. One bucket is, the priors. Some people have questions about how we count the priors. And then the other bucket of incidents have to do with the application under the matrix. So how many, Chairman, Mr. Frank, how many of the 16 that you've identified would you say you have issues with the counting of priors? At those 16, how many have to do with counting of priors? 5. Okay. Let's entertain a motion Or Mr. Carr can just say he'd like to pull those 5, and have further discussion about them and how, you know,
I will entertain a motion to take that and do those separately. That just covers me of what I've done, and that way we're all in agreement to do this, okay?
so those 5.
I want a motion on it, Jeff.
Okay, so let's take a look at those 5 incidents where there's questions about the number of priors. If somebody would like to make a motion to table those, to next month, and in the interim, answer some of those questions about counting of priors, please feel free to make that motion now.
Yes, I make the motion.
Okay, so there's a motion. I'm sorry, Dale?
There's 9.
There's 9 where there are questions about priors.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're talking about 9, out of the 16, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 9 incidents, that there's a motion.
Let me just say this real quick. The other ones that we did bring up were not affected because they were above.
Just 5.
The 9, yes, all of them, but I'm just saying it's for the purposes. Let's go with Dale with 9. That's fine. That's perfectly
Okay,
fine.
there's 9 incidents. The motion is to move those 9 incidents to next month, and in the interim, answer some questions about the counting of priors for those. We have the motion's been made. Do I have a second? Second. Okay. Any discussion on those?
I think for the sake of the public record, we should identify those 9.
Okay. Can we identify those 9 that we're voting on to table? Okay.
1, 2.
Okay.
Yes, you want me to do it?
I mean, someone's got to do it.
Attorney Center,
Okay. Attorney Center, incident number.
1688712.
Okay. Are those 4?
Those 4 down through there, yes.
Those 4. Okay. So that's 4. So we need 5 more that we're tabling.
And then also, 1688712.
What facility?
Attorney Center.
It's on the other page, go up.
They're just split onto 2 pages.
They're just down there.
Okay.
Actually, Dale, there's 10.
Okay. Well,
Starting, it's basically every one of 1688712, all 10.
Okay, Mr. Frank, we've got to do it. We can't keep interrupting. We've got to make it clear what we're doing and what we're voting.
Okay.
So let's just run through the incidents that we're voting. All right, we've got 4, 5, 6. What are the other ones that we're taking?
No, I'm sorry, but my understanding is we're tabling all of the offenders, and there are 10 total, associated with
Again, do that doesn't help. Which incidents are we taking?
168.
Okay, great. 168.
8712.
Okay,
And that incident contains 10 separate offenders that are on Mr. Carr's docket.
so are those the 10? Okay, great. All right. So that is the motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion on tabling those? Chairman, is your hand raised to make a comment, or was that from last time?
No, I was gonna make a comment, but I'm following with you on the 10 right now. I'm in line with that.
Okay, so any further discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Okay, so we've tabled those 10. Now we have 6 others that are still up for consideration. Is that right, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. What I'd like to ask of Mr. Carr is on the assaults and that one indecent exposure, if we could request the D-board packet from TDOC, we should get them. Most of them are Tennessee prisons, so we should be able to get it from them in a couple of days because they're scanned. I'd like to be able to read the D-board writings, 1834 and all the forms before we made a decision on.
Can you identify the incident that you're talking about right now? Or
Yes, sir.
incidents?
Yes, sir. It would be, the first incident at Bledsoe 168-9022, and then Bledsoe 168-9424, Hardeman County 168-9934, Morgan County 168-8196, and then the three conspiracy violations of state law from Morgan County. And then in Northeast, it would be 168-87. I'm sorry, 168-76-69. There's two offenders in that. Thomas number 408361 and Thomas number 663831. And then from Northeast, incident number 169-0437. And then the last one would be Turney Center, the indecent exposure 169-0606. And I'm sorry, then the last one actually is the Whiteville case, 168-9578. And Shelby County does have an entire floor at the Elvis Presley Trauma Center where they house inmates for the state and even county jails that have to be at the trauma center.
Okay, so you're asking for 12 incidents to be tabled until there can be further information requested from TDOC on those.
Yes, sir. Just the D-board docket packet with 1834 and all of the forms. It also will show the previously. It gives more details as far as the injuries. I just think that we need to be able to read that before we say if we're going outside the matrix, if it says minor injury or no injury, before I would feel comfortable voting on those.
Okay, so Mr. Carr, you've heard that. Is that something you'd like to do, or would you like to put that to a vote?
I'd like to put the motion to a vote, please.
Okay. Okay.
So discussion before we vote.
Well, there's no motion yet. I mean, we could do a discussion before if you wanted to,
Okay.
but there hasn't been a motion made yet. I mean, we could just openly discuss it, or we can entertain a motion to do that. Okay, so the motion is to take the 12 identified incidents, table them to next month, and in the interim, get more information from TDOC that can help us understand the impact on those incidents. I would need a second to move forward with discussion.
Second.
Seconded. Okay. Discussion.
So we've already agreed to hold aside some of the docket in relationship to clarifying priors. But these cases being asked to be held aside are being asked on the premise that they're somehow not in the matrix. And so looking at the matrix and looking at what's been asked for. So in the first case, it's an assault on an offender without a weapon. And the docket is asking the person had no priors. The D board took 2, but the docket is asking because it's an assault that 6 be taken instead of 2. So 4 more than what the D board. So in looking at assaults on the matrix, there are 2 statements about assaults on the matrix. There's one at the top and there's one at the bottom.
And I'm sorry, that purpose, just so everybody knows that there's a copy of the matrix in the notebook for reference.
And so I'm referring to the note at the bottom of the matrix because premise of this motion is that somehow what's being asked for, 6 months instead of 2 months, is outside of this matrix. The note at the bottom says, the imposition of a harsher penalty, and in this case, because the person had 0 priors and the board only took 2, a request to take 6 would take 4 more than the 2. I would interpret that as a harsher penalty. Shall be sustained only if the offense involved a death, assault, or injury. Doesn't say serious injury. It says a death, assault, or injury. Now, I recognize at the very top, it says, automatically, you can incur up to 24 if they're serious. But at the bottom, it says that for an assault, you can do a harsher penalty.
I'm sorry, but to an employee, volunteer, or visitor. This was inmate on inmate.
No, and I understand that, but we've had this clarified by the Assistant Commissioner of Prisons, Linda Thomas, that they in no way meant to exclude offenders from this because they don't consider assaults to different categories of human beings as being different. Whether a staff member, a visitor, a volunteer, or an offender, that the department stands behind the notion that assaulting a person is assaulting a person, no matter what category they may occupy.
Are you saying that in any assault from now on, we can take 24 months? Any single assault? That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Wait, you're reading it.
What I just read was somebody who asked to take 4 more months, making it 6 months instead of 2 months. And I'm really unclear on why that would need to be tabled, because we're not talking about jumping from 2 months to 24 months. We're talking about someone who was assaulted, and just because the person who assaulted them hadn't assaulted anybody previously,
Could Bill have taken 9?
it depends on what the assault was. I haven't heard him read that assault. But my point is this, to say to a board member, when they bring a case and they've read that case and in their judgment, this is how they saw it, instead of there being a vote, you can agree with them or don't agree with it. But the notion that his docket items have to be tabled for another time, my opinion would be we should be extremely judicious in when and under what circumstances that we might do that. And so I'll move on for a moment to some of the other cases, not just that one, but some of the other cases. And I don't think it's by chance, because clearly there's differences of opinions here, but all except the one CVS incident, which involves 3 individual offenders, and none of the, one indecent. All of these are assaults. And so I do think it's important to clarify, where do individuals want to stand in terms of their interpretation of that note versus saying or putting on the public record that somehow this presented docket is outside the matrix. I don't agree that the docket is outside the matrix by virtue of the note that's on the matrix itself. And so that's what I take issue with. If that's the reason we're tabling it, because somehow this docket is outside the matrix, I don't agree that this docket's outside the matrix.
Well, I don't think that's what the motion is saying. The motion is saying that they're just asking for more information
But
About,
about the incidents.
but all of us received the docket and have the opportunity to read it. So why these particular incidents? Why don't we, let me come at this a different way. Because listen, I think more information is always better. Perhaps, gentlemen, before we accept any dockets, we should see the complete records on all cases. Why are some cases we want to see the complete record and others we don't want to see the complete record? Let's be consistent in how we do our work.
I think that's a little unfair.
Chairman has something.
Yeah, Chairman, your hand's up.
Yes, sir. What I want, the reason I'm asking for the information, as Dr. Carpo said on the matrix, as the D board does their evaluation, they notate on the matrix and it's put as a copy of the record. And if they go outside of the normal, if it's first, if there's no priors, one prior, two priors, three priors, if they go outside of that, that last sentence has to be verified, and they put a written reason why they went outside the matrix. So looking at the D board's summaries and all would give us a clear understanding on what the case actually was.
But that's when the D board goes outside the matrix. In this case, a board member is suggesting that too little time was taken. So the notes from the hearing are not going to justify why more time should be taken. The D board didn't take more time.
But it also will tell us because, for instance, the two at Bledsoe both say no injury on the incident report. And if there's no injury, then there's nothing to impel the addition of more punishment to the inmate. The report from the D board will give much more clearancy to what the actual injury was.
So in the case that I just mentioned, because I wrote a note on it, when I looked it up,
Which case, is that Bledsoe?
it's Bledsoe case 1689022. It says, quote, the victim was struck several times with closed fist.
I agree, but it also says no injury on the report.
Well, and I also, as the only member of the board who's actually served as a correctional officer in the state prison, I know.
Can we not?
No,
Can we not do personal
I'm sorry.
attacks?
I'm just prefacing why you write injury or no injury is for liability purposes to say, I'm not going to send this person to an outside hospital. But if any of us, the strongest man amongst us, was hit in the head several times with a closed fist, it doesn't seem to make common sense that they would not be injured.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the fair point is what reading it and the information that you get, there's an interpretation there. And where you land on the effect of that interpretation, it matters. And so I think where we've got some board members who are saying, you know, I'd like more information before I can fully make the decision about what I think, you know, the final punishment should be. And we certainly have some that are saying, I've got all the information that I need. And you know, this is where I don't think any additional information is going to change that. So, you know, that may just be the case, which I think is perfectly fair. That's why we do this, bring everybody together and, you know, get thoughts and perspectives from people of different backgrounds, different experiences and all that good stuff. I mean, I think that point has been well taken.
And I'll just briefly make two other points and then vote however one would like to vote. One has to do with, well, actually, two of them have to do with cases that Mr. Carr read out loud. The first one that I'd like to touch on is the one that involves, and it's a case that has been asked to be tabled, and it involves a group of offenders who held back officers from intervening in weapons assault on two separate offenders. One offender was stabbed 40 times. 40 times.
Which incident was it?
It was,
Was this the Northeast?
Yeah.
yeah,
Does everybody have that one? The ASO Northeast?
So while these officers were being physically, hands on them, held back from doing their jobs, an inmate was stabbed 40 times, and simultaneously, according to the incident, simultaneously, a second inmate was being stabbed 5 times. Now, I don't know, reading that incident, what more I'm going to find out from reading the packet that would justify taking 4 months from one of the offenders and 2 months from another of the offenders for putting their hands on officers and holding them back from trying to intervene and save the lives of 2 inmates who are being brutally stabbed. The second case that I want to say something about, and I recognize Mr. Frank, and I'll yield this to you, that on the CVS, where offenders went over perimeter fence to retrieve contraband and have contraband, more than 200 grams of meth, 2 cell phones, 2 chargers, 4 vape pens, the list goes on and on of what these offenders retrieved and brought in. Because these 3 offenders have 0 priors, the D board assigned 1 month loss of credit for each. And I highlight this one for this point. That's so counterintuitive to any common sense about how to arrange a sentence matrix to withdraw sentencing credits when that kind of incident can occur. And I feel for the D board, because their hands are being tied by this matrix because you've never done it before. I can only take 1 month. You get to keep all the rest of your sentence credits. You get to use those to get out early, but you facilitated, participated, and collaborated in how to bring more than 220 grams of meth into a secure facility. And so I'm very troubled that a matrix even exists that would allow or tie the D board's hands to only taking 1 month from each of those people. That's all I'm saying.
So we've identified a couple of incidents inside of those 12. Would you entertain an amendment to take out those from the motion, or leave the motion as is? Okay. Okay, any further discussion on the motion? And again, the motion is to table the 12 that we've identified until next month, and in the interim, get additional information and then bring them back up to vote. Any further discussion on that motion? Okay. Let's see if we can do it by a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, I've got 2. Mr. Lindsay, I didn't quite hear your vote on that.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 4-2. So we're gonna move those to next month. And in the interim, we will request additional information to get more on them. Okay, we still have the rest of the removal docket to approve. We can entertain a motion to approve the rest of the docket excluding the 10 and the 12 that we've identified, the 22 that we've identified to move to next month. I don't know how many that leaves, honestly.
We'll move. They work out.
Okay, so the remaining incidents in the motion, in Mr. Carr's docket for September are being voted on now. I have a motion to approve those and enter into the record. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Okay, hearing none, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for that. And we have Mr. Lindsay. You are next, sir.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll be short and sweet. My report for November, the D board took 180 months. I took an additional 100 and restored 18 back. I'll repeat that again. The D board took 180 months. I took 100 months and I restored 18 months back to the inmates, all within the matrix. And to go ahead and save you some time, Michael Stahl, the trends that I'm seeing is the same ones that Brother Lee Frank has brought up, just trying to figure out this no LPP time taken. And we already spoke about that. So just waiting to get some clarity back and see how the board will move forward, as well as TDOT with solving that issue. That's the only trend I see in errors. But all in all, from my reports, I see things moving in a positive direction. But that's all I have. So again, 180 months. I took an additional 100 months and I restored 18 months of good time credit back to the inmates. Thanks.
Okay. Are there any incidents you identified in September that you'd like to deliver to TDOC as, particularly egregious or problematic examples of what something you're seeing?
No, I don't have any of those. I believe Del Carr get all the good stuff, if I might say.
I got a few small.
Everything. Yeah, most months, unfortunately,
I think Del Carr get all the good stuff. But mine are relatively. I mean, I must say, they're within the matrix. There's some that I have to adjust to put them in the matrix, but I haven't seen anything outrageous or outlandish or any. No, sir, I haven't. But and mine are been standard in the matrix, or not too far from it. So just minor adjustments. So in all, just been a positive. The last few months has been trajectory, in my humble opinion, in the right direction.
Okay, great. Any other comments for Mr. Lindsay on his docket for September? Okay, then we can entertain a motion to move his docket into the record.
So move.
Seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay, for your work this month.
Like,
Yes.
is there any way, since I've had coffee, and that we could take 3 minutes? for
Yes,
restroom break?
absolutely. Yeah, let's take a, it is
That's
10:38.
okay, if that's okay with everybody?
Yeah, let's come back at 10:50. Okay, all right, we'll take a short recess and let me just stop the recording here.